Hey Emily, how's it going?
Hey Jamie, it's going well. How are you?
I can't hear you.
Oh
Can
no.
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, I can hear you now. There you go.
Oh no, I hope it's not a terrible lag.
I can hear you now anyway, which is great.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, this is the first time we've kind of done an update together, which is cool. Um,
Yeah, I'm
but
excited.
yeah, I'm excited to dive into some of the updates we've had released this month and talk about some of the community stuff as well. But I'll not give away too much just yet.
Yeah.
So, for anyone that is joining for the very first time, my name is Jamie. I'm a developer advocate. I work on the developer relations team here at GraphCMS, and I'm responsible for documentation, working with the community, and helping you succeed with GraphCMS. And with me, we have Emily.
Yeah, hi, I'm Emily. I'm the content marketing manager here at GraphCMS. So I help write all the content that you see and kind of get in touch with all of our users and see what they're building as well and make sure I'm well aware of what's going on and seeing what all the cool things you guys are building.
Yeah, I still am getting quite a. Your audio seems to be coming through quite broken up. I'm not sure if it's
Oh no.
just my end, but yeah, we'll persevere. It could be some connection issues.
Let's
But yeah,
see.
let's just stream the screen and we'll walk through some of the updates we've been doing. So hello to a few people that have joined as well. We've got Jonathan, Ronak, Prenshu, and Peter joining. So hello to everyone that has joined. Let's dive in and have a look and see what we've got going on. So let's share the screen and we'll get rid of this overlay. So let's dive in. So apparently my audio is a little low, but maybe turn your volume up and turn it down when you speak, Emily. So it's been quite a busy month here at GraphCMS. We have got a blog article about this. If you're just curious to learn more and get a TLDR, then I would kind of head over to the blog and see what's new there. We are just going to kind of casually chat about some of this stuff because we love it. We find it really exciting. So I'm going to kick it off and I'm going to talk about the official Gatsby integration. Now, we introduced the Gatsby integration on March 9th, and this was a tremendous amount of work from our team. There was a lot of work kind of done in the web app to make this possible, but there was a lot of documentation and guides and kind of collaboration with Gatsby as well to make this possible. So we're really excited to now have this out in the open for everyone to try. And essentially, what you need to do is log into GraphCMS, and you'll find inside of the integrations section, you'll see this thing on the right here, Gatsby Cloud. You click in there, and you can configure your Gatsby project, and that will ask for all sorts of things, such as your site prefix and your deployment hooks. And what this will enable you to do is when you're creating content here, on the right-hand side, you'll see that there is a Gatsby Cloud section, and under here, you get a button to open this in a preview. So every time you save content with GraphCMS, this is configured in a way that the Gatsby Cloud will be notified through GraphCMS via a webhook, and we will automatically Gatsby Cloud will automatically rebuild that preview so you can see your content in Gatsby Cloud, and you get that on a nice preview URL. So it's really nice if you're working with, obviously, people work with headless APIs, and one of the questions is, well, how do I preview this? And if you're working with Gatsby, there is a build time there. But if you're using Gatsby Cloud, that is really fast, and that will rebuild that page for you so you can go ahead and view what's going on. So a big shout out to Carlos and Jonathan who worked on this, and to everybody else on the team that spent time working on this integration. And the integration is great and all, but to make all of that possible with anyone using GraphCMS and Gatsby together is made possible using the Gatsby source plugin. And again, this month we also updated very quickly to support Gatsby version 3 that dropped by the Gatsby team this month. And this now supports the Gatsby image stuff. So if you are using the Gatsby source plugin and you want to use the new Gatsby 3 image components and plugins and all that fun stuff. This plugin now supports that, so you're able to use that as well. And very soon we will be merging a pull request that will enable placeholder support for images. And this is a community contribution here that allows blurred and dominant and traced SVG placeholders for that Gatsby image. So this is really cool. This is starting to take shape. And if anybody is kind of curious to get involved and help on this, by all means, you can. That's open source, right? We love it. And let us know, and we'll turn some things on your account just to say thanks as well. Give you some extra goodies there. So yeah, there's that for the Gatsby stuff. There seems like a lot of Gatsby stuff, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
Gatsby,
I feel like
Gatsby this month.
but I also feel like that's something that we hear a lot, especially from some of our community users, is that they love Gatsby and that they are often building these static sites and want to be able to preview their content, especially for the content editors. And so having all of this just right within GraphCMS is really going to improve their experience and hopefully make it easier for them to kind of work on content easily while staying in the CMS and not having to click back and forth a million times.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, like, so the next thing I think on the list we could talk about is going to be the remote fields. Now, you know a lot about this, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a bit more about this.
Absolutely. So Jonathan, he recently has been working on a remote fields example for kind of a reference app that puts content federation, which is something that we've been working on a lot recently, is our content federation into action by using GraphCMS data to be enriched with Stripe products. So pulling the data directly from GraphCMS using remote fields and pushing that into your Stripe project so that you can see all of the data from there. And this is going to be really helpful for people trying to work with remote fields, see how they work in action. And it has a great repo and information about how to set it all up there as well.
Yeah, this is really nice. And like you say, the repo kind of shows how to set everything up.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks cool. I've not played around with it yet too much, but I have used remote fields, and I think the collaboration with another API is always great. People do this all the time, right? People are using GraphCMS to connect other APIs, so they're not kind of having to call out to the other APIs in the one in that application. They can just use one request and they can fetch data from all these different sources. And if you go back to like the very first kind of selling point to GraphQL, that was it, right? Like people were saying this is one request to get all of your data. And back then, people were really excited because it seemed to be getting all of your data from one service or one database. But this is a step further now. This is actually integrating other APIs, and we will make that one request. So I just think that's amazing how far we've came since that whole kind of the whole selling point for GraphQL in the early days was that obviously we've seen different benefits kind of come around since its launch, and that's not the only thing it does. But I just think connecting other services under the one kind of API is really nice.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, if you think about it, like there's almost no project that exists with only one like data source, and so just being able to all connect it together so easily is just so helpful. And exactly what we said.
Yeah. And just a final point on this, I've got 2 final points actually. One of them is the reference application here using Stripe. This is also typed as well, so the type definitions you create. If I open up the migration.js, and I don't want to go too specific for this stream, but you can see here that we create remote type definitions, and this is then typing into your GraphCMS API things, in this case, the Stripe product, the Stripe recurring price, Stripe price, and all of this is typed, and it's available inside of Graphical, inside of the API playground that you get when you have when you've logged into your project. So you can go ahead and query all of this. You can view the documentation and view the descriptions and things, and that's based off the information you provide when you're kind of connecting all of this. So that's really I just think that's really fascinating. and really fun, and it's just a really intuitive developer experience. And yeah, if anyone does have any issues getting set up here, then big shout out to Jonathan who created this. He's now left, but I'm sure he'll be open for any questions you've got around this. So go check him out if you've got any questions.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So that seems like a lot of technical content that we've already covered, and there's tons more, like tons more fun stuff. What is going on content? What is new? Tell me about content.
Yeah, so
I've noticed a few.
Yes, it's been a busy month for content as well. So we've kind of focused on two different tracks this month. So first of all, being localization. So many of our users love localization and use it in all of their projects. And so we wanted to take a little bit of a deep dive into how exactly localization works specifically within GraphCMS.
Yeah.
And so here we go through kind of all of the different things that you need to know if it's your first time working with it, or if you're a content editor and maybe this is your first experience with localization ever, and kind of how all of that will work. So that's what one of the blog post goes into. Another one is a very important feature, which I don't think gets enough credit, is locale-based publishing. So being able to publish content based on locale, obviously. Yeah. And so if that's a specific language or a specific currency or however you have the locale set up, being able to publish them separately. So you'll have your default content published. And then if you're working on it in a different language or a different locale, then you can slowly start to publish it. It doesn't have to all be ready at the same time, which I think is a really powerful feature and something that a lot of users sometimes have to find rather than know about. So here, hopefully, we've made it a little bit easier for them to know about it from the get-go.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a big feature, and it's so well built as well that this article is certainly going to help me use more of it. And this comes up every day in conversations. So just having these kind of resources to link people to is just really helpful. So big thanks to you for writing that article.
And then the second track that we worked on this month was kind of content modeling. And so content modeling within GraphCMS specifically. So kind of tips for how to do that and what are again, like working with a specific service, what does that mean? And what are the kind of nice, like little features that you might not notice necessarily if it's your first time working with GraphCMS, or maybe you're used to it, but you haven't really fully explored all of the opportunities. And so we go through that in the content modeling in GraphCMS. And then our other content modeling article this month is about essential content models written by our Ronak. And he goes into a bunch of kind of content models that are used very often in a lot of our customers' use cases or community members' use cases, and gives you a breakdown of, okay, this is what this looks like. And so you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but he gives you a good guide for where to start.
Yeah. This is great. I can tell when I created this post as well, because these images do look a little bit blurred, and they look like they were created on a Windows machine, Ronak. So I think it's easy to figure out who created those. But yeah, other content as well. I've had a crazy month recording some videos. These are all on YouTube right now in a How to GraphCMS playlist, and these will walk you through doing some of the smaller things in the UI that you could maybe miss, or you maybe just want to learn a little bit more about. And I've started to move on from just those little things to even bigger concepts around how to use GraphQL union types, how to create content views, how to work with public API permissions, and a lot more. I even start to create videos on all of the different fields that are available inside of GraphCMS. There's a few I haven't recorded yet because we're making some updates to a few, so I didn't want to go ahead and record those until those new features are dropped. And hopefully by the end of the next update, we'll be able to share those with you as well. But all of these videos are, again, all available for free on YouTube. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I won't do that cringy click the bell for.
I was going to say.
click
the bell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
shout out to you,
this is
Jamie.
cool.
This is really awesome. I've already heard a lot of feedback from users and even people within our GraphCMS team how helpful these videos are and just how
Awesome.
succinct and straightforward. And really shout out to you on all the great work on this because they're awesome.
Thank you very much. No, it's a good to hear, and I want these videos to help people using the product at the end of the day. And although this kind of stream now is more casual, more laid back, we're just kind of chatting. These videos are not that. These videos are just to the point. Click here, do this. This is what happens, and that's what you need. You can see by the lengths. There's one video here, 27 seconds. It's to
Yeah.
the point, right? There's no you're gonna get no waffle. You're gonna get no chat from us, unfortunately. But I love that
Yeah.
format.
Those are what you need when you're having a problem or you're new to a system. You don't want all of the chat. You want the, okay, here's the answer, you know?
Definitely, definitely. And if you're a busy content editor and you come into us new and you just want to kind of learn things and figure things out, most of it is intuitive. But if you kind of want to learn a little bit more and dive a little deeper, well, these videos are a great place to start. And these will be surfaced in the web app soon. So in places you would use these, we'll kind of give some subtle hints to view the video or learn a little bit more. So look out for that coming soon. And lastly, we've got guides.
Yeah, so this is something we've been working on is updating our guides for kind of short walkthroughs on different either features or common use cases or something like that, so that you can kind of quickly find, okay, this is what the slug field does, this is how you set up the Gatsby cloud integration and all of these kind of things, just to have them all in one spot so that you always know, okay, if I'm looking for a new guide or I need a little bit of help with something, then this can always be the resource that you kind of go to.
Yeah, totally. I like these. We'll be putting more guides in here soon. And obviously, it'd be nice to service some community articles in here as well. I think we're going to kind of change the layout of this a little bit. Maybe add some nicer overview images and cards and stuff. I would love to kind of split it up a bit like the blog where things are tagged as we add more guides. But yeah, I'm looking forward to growing this list and writing some more guides. But if you're interested in learning more or want to kind of contribute to GraphCMS, you can also head down to the footer now and you can click Write for GraphCMS. And this is if you want to kind of create any content for GraphCMS or GraphQL or Jamstack, any framework you're using. It doesn't have to be, Jamstack. It doesn't have to be anything like that. If you are just working with GraphQL or just working in front end or back end dev, you want to create some content, well, we've got a program now, and just kind of fill out the form. Let us know what your ideas are, and we can jump on a call and chat through that and get it going. So I just wanted to give a shout out to this page specifically, since we've launched that program.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited to see all of the cool pieces of content that come out of this. I think it's a really awesome opportunity for our community members.
Definitely. Well then, I think lastly, and we've saved the best to last, is going to be some
Woohoo!
community updates. I love community updates. Like, it's amazing. Like, do you not find it weird? Like, people, we create content, we create docs, we create videos, we send them to people and we get feedback. But I just love it when other people create content because it's like, wow, it's just a really nice feeling. Like,
Yeah,
I learn a lot from community content as well.
yeah, absolutely. And it's also cool to see just such a wide range of things that are created with GraphCMS. It really shows the flexibility of it and just all of the creativeness that creativity that our community members have, and all of the. It's just exciting to see it actually come to fruition. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Well, why don't we have a look and give some shout outs to some of these community updates here? Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first one, which is really awesome, is Michelle. He recently created he wanted to upload his podcast to Spotify. However, he needed an RSS feed, and he didn't have one. And so what he did was use the GraphCMS API to generate an RSS feed, and then was able to upload it to Spotify, which is very cool, using our GraphCMS podcast starter.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, right.
That's cool. Yeah, yeah. I like that idea. And that's yeah, we got podcast starter, so you can just kind of get started in a new project. I might do that myself. Should we create a podcast and use this?
Yeah, that sounds like a fun side project.
Let's make these streams a podcast. There's an idea.
Yeah.
Then we got a job board. So Eric, long-term member of the community, he's created a job board for fintech jobs, and that's now available. I don't want to open up any of these profiles just on the stream. You never know what things could link to or somebody's retweeted or anything. So I was a bit nervous doing that. But this blog post links to all of this, all of these kind of contributions here. And then there's a course as well, Marcelo. Have you been following Marcelo's stuff? Because he's doing some really great content with content modeling.
Yeah, I've been watching some of his streams recently about all of the content modeling, and I haven't had a chance to check out his new course yet about focusing on GraphCMS, but it's on my list. It looks great, and it's always exciting to see people again just take what they're working on with GraphCMS and run with it, and also make some content to share with others and help other people along as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so Ronak left a comment as well about the blurred images. He says they're optimized for SEO, but I don't believe him.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's always his answer is they're always optimized for SEO.
Yeah, that's true SEO. So that's a fantastic course Marcelo's up to, and he's always creating great content, and it's always coming out every week, I think. Yeah, and I've not seen this last contribution here. Actually, there's a few more. Matthias, I've not seen. Have you seen this before?
I saw that he did kind of. I think it was a tweet that he took. He explained why he chose GraphCMS and what specifically was what were all the different reasons why GraphCMS stood out to him. And to me, that was really interesting. Oh, it was even more than a tweet.
Yeah, I remember this now. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you were referring to a tweet we got from the community, but now I remember this article. This goes into a lot of detail, which is cool.
Absolutely.
Using Gatsby, yeah, it is, which is nice. So there's a great article there, and we'll leave a link. There's a link in the blog post, and we'll update the comment after this video is aired with a link to this as well. I'll drop that in there now in the chat. So, excellent. That is now available. You can go and view that blog post. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm having fun with the animations here. So let's continue.
Yeah. So another community contribution was Rishi created a new portfolio using content served from GraphCMS, and he paired GraphCMS with Next.js and Framer Motion and Sass. So it's a beautiful portfolio. Highly recommend to check it out.
Yeah, this is amazing. Definitely go check that out. And then two things. The plugin for migrating Markdown to GraphCMS was created by one of our community users. And I'm going to load this one up because this is really cool. And what this allows you to do, it's fairly new, so I'm sure if you dive into the issues and pull requests, you can get involved on building this out. But there's a little bit of configuration required when you set up the project. But essentially, you've got to set up your token for GraphCMS, set up the model. Do you have to set up the model? Yes. And then you run npx md to GraphCMS, include a path to your current Markdown article, and then a URL to your GraphCMS instance, including the mutation a auth token with mutation permissions enabled. That will then allow you to run, and this will just insert that document, that Markdown document, into GraphCMS, which is pretty cool. You could automate this. A lot of people who join GraphCMS want to migrate content, and we've got two things, which one of them is the management SDK, so you can create your schema programmatically, and then we have the content APIs. We have a query and a mutation API, a lot of people use the mutation API to insert data into that newly created schema, and then publish that as well. And you could think of this as a utility that allows you to submit into an existing schema for Markdown stuff. So, a lot of developers, I guess, I don't know if that's stereotyping, but I assume a lot of people who are familiar with Markdown are kind of developer focused and developer minded. I certainly say a large majority of those are familiar with Markdown. A lot of the platforms we use, that's their kind of bread and butter. But this tool, if you use Markdown, you can just migrate it in. It's really cool. And I guess it could all be automated. So there's a few to-dos. So if you're keen to get involved and build it out, head on over to this repo. Links again are inside of the blog article. And then lastly, TypeScript support for GraphCMS React Image. Now this was previously named something else, and I actually can't remember what it was previously called. I think it was GraphCMS Image, but it was a React implementation. So we had a little bit of a chat inside of the repo, and we discussed that it'd probably be a bit nicer to rename this to GraphCMS React Image, and this basically allows you to display images from the GraphCMS asset CDN. And before, when you were using this, it was just a bit meh. Like using it wasn't typed, and everybody knows who's using a type library. It's so much easier to know when you're kind of using this graph image tag that image is of a certain type, and it includes max width as a prop, and various other things. So those are now typed out, and they're available inside of the project. So I think they're inside of image and index. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing. Yeah, I probably am. But yeah, they're in here somewhere. Yeah, so there we go. So everything's typed out in here. You get a nice little description. So when you are using, like, when you type in title, it tells you this is optional, and this is passed to the image element. So there's, working with this before was, it wasn't really intuitive enough. You just kind of typing in, hoping for the best, really, and always having to refer to the documentation. But now it's all typed in. It's nicer to work with. So I love that. And it's obviously been republished under GraphCMS React Image. Wow,
that's so much.
A lot of community updates.
A busy month for the community. It must have been a very cold winter month where people were stuck inside and said, I want to make something cool instead.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's it for this month.
Yeah, this was great.
There's a lot more coming next month as well. We've got some great product updates coming. And yeah, I probably shouldn't say this, but some of the features are enabled already. You may have to go looking for them, but they're there. But we'll formally announce them, formally get them out of their kind of current beta stage, and available to everyone that's watching and following along what we're up to here. So, to learn more about GraphCMS, head to graphcms.com, subscribe to our YouTube channel, click the bell. And yeah, you can follow everything we're doing there. So this was fun, Emily. Thanks very much for joining me.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
We'll do it next month if you're up for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, until next time. Have
Yep,
fun.
until then.